What's up, mindful people out there? So this is the second part, and yesterday I talked about that 95% of the time you are in default mode in your brain, and you're kind of rolling out the program which was kind of set into your subconsciousness. And in order to change your life, you really need to understand how your brain works and how we can change this programming. So from neuroscience we know that everything what you experience in life, everything from the smallest things to the biggest impact you had in your life is basically something which is happening in your brain. So certain neurons, certain areas in your brain are firing, means becoming active. So the magic word, what neuroscientists have found out, is neuroplasticity. So that means a lot of times we know that what makes up my personality, what makes up my ways how I react to the outside, how I am in relationships, how angry I am, how calm I am, all these kind of things are basically neurological connections. And in the past, people thought that these neurological connections, so the neurons in your brain are connected, in million ways with each other, and that this setup is kind of carved in stone, and this is who we are. So now neuroscience has found out that our brain is completely plastic. So that means that, for example, when a person has a stroke and a certain part of our brain does not work anymore, then the mind can reorganize itself in a way that certain neurological connections are getting dissolved, and they make new neurological connections. So that means after a while, when somebody wakes up after a stroke and the language center was destroyed and the person cannot speak anymore, other parts of the brain will take over that function, and the person slowly can learn how to speak again. So, and neuroscience called it neuroplasticity, so that our mind is actually plastic, so it can change. That's the best news we can actually get. And and the question is, do you want life to change your brain? Because every single experience you have, everything what is happening on the outside has an effect on your brain. And do you want life to shape your brain, or do you want to shape your brain yourself? Do you want to be actively involved in this process of what is going on in your mind? A lot of people have very unwholesome states of mind. They just don't like themselves a lot. They put themselves under a lot of pressure. They always have the feeling they are only valuable when they are successful and all this kind of stuff. So do you want to just roll out these old programs, or do you want to actively make new programs? So, and the way how that works is that neuroscience says the neurons who fire together, they wire together. To give you a very simple example, I was always really afraid of spiders. It was ridiculous. If I was a little spider on the ceiling, I could not sleep. I had to get my wife to just come over and take the spider out. It was really annoying. And the reason why I had this kind of behavior was because my mother always made me go into the basement and get the marmalade glasses up so that we can make our homemade marmalade. It was incredible. But the basement was so scary. It was dark, it was wet, I think it was full of ghosts and whatever. And so I went down there and I saw all these spiders, and sometimes they had fallen into the marmalade glasses, and I got really scared. So every time I had to go down there, danger and spider was firing together. So these two areas in the mind were firing together and wiring together, making a new neurological connection. Every time the same experience comes, the connection gets stronger. Same experience, stronger. So no matter what happens in your childhood, you will have these certain experiences where neurons are firing together. So then I came here to Thailand into our Buddhist monastery, and I was meditating day in, day out, and it was full of spiders. I mean, they were, like as big as part of my hand, basically. I was so scared. We had cockroaches and all that kind of stuff. But I learned here all these methods of influencing your mind. I learned methods of how you relate to yourself in so much better and healthier ways. I learned, the art of compassion and all these kind of things. So spider and mind training, spider and wisdom, spider and love was firing together. So the old neurological connections were just going away, and I was starting to build new neurological connections. And now, a couple of years later, I have no fear of spiders. I can have them here in my house or wherever. I can bring them away, no problem anymore. So even deep phobias you can change when you understand how the mind actually works. So, and the question is, most people just go through life, they experience life, and based on their setup in their mind, they always experience the same thing. And so the question is, do you want to make new experiences by shaping the mind in a completely new way? And this is what I would like to teach you in the next days, how to apply techniques so that you change the content and the neurological connections in your mind. And this is the most fascinating thing you can do. It's not easy because you need, it's the same way when you want to train your body. It's healthy, that it just makes you very fit, and it's a base of what we are doing in life. If you're not strong, when you're not fit, then everything becomes exhausting. It's the same thing with the mind. We need to get off the sofa. We need to do a little bit of training, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day. That's totally enough to really make a lasting change in the mind you want your mind to be. So stay tuned. I come back to you tomorrow. I will get the last bit of information we need to really understand how to change, and then we go into the practice. Thank you so much.